Welcome back to On a Serious Note. You're with me, the headman of cattle, Mitchell Mutumba Simata. You know, I read something something interesting today, which was an article by the New Era, Farmer's Kraal with Mr. Charles. He wrote an article where he was talking about numbers still rule and roost in agriculture. Where he was talking about don't believe the hype about how numbers or quantity is not important in farming. This is a trap, especially if you're an emerging farmer. So what is my opinion on this? Look, my opinion is, I read his article and I found myself agreeing with him on many points. Many points I was agreeing with him with things such as, if you're an emerging farmer, you have to pay back loans and so forth. So chasing numbers would work. And maybe you don't need to start off having smaller numbers of top quality animals. Which I was agreeing with what he was saying. Not that I'm discrediting his thing, but my mindset was very simple. My mindset when I was farming was a mindset of such. When we started farming in the area of Witflay in 2010, the maximum carrying capacity of the place we farmed could only carry 70 animals. I couldn't have 200, I couldn't have 80, 70 was the set number for the camp. Which made me sit down with my dad at the time, and we asked ourselves, what are we going to do? We can't chase numbers here and have over 200 heads of animals. We can't have 100 heads of animals. We are crawled in at 70. 70 is the carrying number of this camp, and we must respect what the agreement says, that you're only allowed to have 70 animals. So then it made me sit down and say, and I told my dad, why don't we not focus on numbers but rather focus on the quality of our animals? Because since we can't produce big numbers, why don't we try and produce smaller numbers of top quality animals? He agreed with me. Now, my three categories of cows, female cows, the females now, which are called cows or heifers. You have your best, which is at the top. These are usually your stud breeder animals. You have good, which are usually commercial animals, which were previously stud animals, but were probably thrown out of the stud because of things like maybe wasn't the right color. If it's the Simbras have to have that brown circle around the eyes, and because it didn't have that pigment, it was thrown out. And then you have your okay cows. Your okay cows are not your best looking, are not the most good looking cows. You know, it's some of those ones that don't even have the desirable weight. These are the type of animals that have more horn than meat. So those are my three categories. So when I would go out and buy livestock, I would rather try to buy good. Because I'm not stud breeding, so I can't buy your best. I can't go spend 18,000 right now on one stud Brahman or Simbra or Bosmara or Afsimental or Afrikaner heifer. I rather buy good. Good, as I said, in the Simbra society or the Brahman society or Bosmara or whatever society, are usually those animals, when they were born, they were registered as stud animals. But because as they grew older, they started falling out at certain criteria. Remember, stud breeding, there are certain criteria. There are colors, there's weight, there's a certain look of an animal. If you're a Simbra breeder and you are breeding more animals that are supposed to look more Simmental than Brahman, and then your animals look more more Brahman, they are thrown out. So those are the animals that I would try to buy, the deregistered animals. Those are the type of animals that I used to go after. Because my philosophy was, in the camp that I was renting, I wasn't allowed to have more than 70 animals. So it meant my herds had to be smaller, but the quality had to be top quality. It meant that I had to focus on quality. I couldn't focus on quantity. I had to be obsessed with quality. Because one thing that I started studying when I was doing my drive for quality was, my neighbor who was next to me, his camp, he was allowed to have 150 animals. When we would take our winners to auction, to go sell, and the winners would climb onto the scale, they'd always weigh them before they start the bidding. My winners were always a kilogram heavier than his. Why? Because my neighbor, the fact that he could have lots of animals, he didn't really care about quality. He was buying whatever bull, whatever cow, he didn't really care. He was just buying because it's a cow and it's a bull. And he'd bring to his kraal as long as he has numbers. While my mindset was, I don't just buy whatever cow, whatever bull. My cows I can probably buy, sometimes I can buy an okay cow, I can buy a good cow. But with my bulls, I didn't. It was a non-negotiable clause for me. There I spent money. I would spend 25,000 up to 30 to 40,000 on a bull, because I knew the quality the bull brings to the herd. You know, you can have okay cows, but if you have a top Brahman, Bosmara, whatever breed of bull you have, I'm telling you, the calves you will get from that bull, even though it's not coming from the best looking mother, in a year or two, tops. My one red bull, Musholozi, when he came in, when I bought Musholozi and we brought him, we had Stompy, a white Brahman bull, very, not really dead, but a bit tall on the legs, very muscular. He added the height to the cows that I had, my okay cows that I started off with. And then when I bought Musholozi brought the middle frame muscular. He brought that meatiness and the muscularness, the muscles to my heifers. I could see my heifers. I could see my male calves that I was busy winning and trying to sell, how they looked. They changed. And then from there, when I brought in Shamrock, which was a cemental bull, very well compacted, not your biggest, but fleshed out very well, they started bringing out differences. And that's what I used to say, that I can buy okay cows. Sometimes on my cows, because, you know, some breeders don't want to sell their good cows. They want to keep them and probably breed them to their stud bull and maybe try and re-register the calf. Sometimes they don't want to sell them. So what I used to do was, I can buy an okay cow, but my bull was a non-negotiable clause. I would buy an expensive bull. I'm not saying I'm going to buy $1 million bull. I'd buy probably a bull for 30, for 20, going all the way to 50,000. That's how much I was willing to spend on a bull, because I understood the value the bull adds to a herd. If you buy, you can have okay looking cows, not the best looking animals around, but you buy one top bull and put that bull in your crop for 3 years. I'm telling you, the calves you're going to get from that bull, ladies and gentlemen, will be let me put it, they will be exquisite quality. That's what I did. So that's why I would rather focus on quality than rather chase the numbers. The numbers for me, and I've always said this, it's not saying that I will cut out numbers. I rather first start off by making sure that my building blocks, my start off animals are good quality. And then from those 30 good quality cows that I bought, plus the bull, which are 31, I am going to build the quantity. Because now I'm starting off from a very good base. I have very good quality animals. Or probably I have okay cows in a top bull. This top bull and the okay cows are going to come together and start producing outstanding quality for me. After a while, 5, 6, 7, 8 years from today, my crawl would look beautiful. Very nice, with the right quality, right weight, right meat, right milk. All this type of things will be there in my crawl, because I started off by focusing on my quality. And then from there I can build my quantity. I've always said that the second part of my argument has always been that if I'm farming in a communal area, and like I said, I'm traditionally, or my family roots are from the northeastern part of Namibia, which is the Zambezi region, which is a communal area, open land. There is no fence of land, it's just open. If I'm farming in such an area, and I'm sharing grazing and scarce resources with, let's say, 100 other households, and every household has a kraal, has a cattle kraal. I'm sharing grazing, I'm sharing water, I'm sharing grazing, and I'm sharing the water points of 100 families with 100 cows. Let's say every person has maximum number of probably, let's say, 500 heads of animals. It wouldn't make sense for me there in that area to focus on quality. To focus on quantity. Because we are sharing resources. We are sharing limited resources, finite resources like water and grazing. Depending on the rainy situation, if it doesn't rain heavy that year, or there is no good rain, the grazing is gone. Because we're all running big herds. And this is where things like, overgrazing starts happening, damaging of topsoil, damaging of the natural environment starts happening, because we have too many animals in one place. Would it not make sense for those people who are sharing resources for other people to rather reduce and to focus on building quality? Maybe say if I have 100 animals, I sell off 50 of those animals, I stay probably with 50 cows, and I buy a bull, 51 animals, and then I work on my quality. And then probably if I say the maximum I would want to keep is, I have 50 now, I'd probably want to keep 60 animals. And I just keep it at that. 60, okay, not 60, let's take away the 60, let's say 59. 59 of those animals give birth. 59 of those animals give birth. You're getting 59 calves. 59 calves of good quality. Wouldn't that make much more sense for you? I know that, yes, when you're an emerging farmer, people will say, but Mitchell, quality is expensive. I know this. I'm not going to lie. I know this very well. When we were buying our bulls, we either had to sell off, and like I said, we're in a commercial area. Things like auctions were happening. So we could afford to sell off a certain number to buy in one top quality bull. We could do that, you know. But nowadays, the commercial farmers or the communal land farmers have opportunities such as the Agricultural Bank of Namibia is giving them loans, and they can apply for loans. Some of them are probably already employed, they have pay slips. You can apply for loans from the various banks and buy these things. Or many of you guys, like I said, if you have over 200 heads of cattle, you can sell some of those cows, reduce your number, bring it maybe back to probably 100, or probably if it's 200, you can bring it to 100, or you can bring it to 90 animals, and make it maybe 91 animals, including your bull. And then you work to build your quality. Because with quality, yes, it's expensive. Yes, it takes time. Yes, it will mean you take a knock in your pocket. But with time, when you start selling your animals to the abattoir, Meatco, Beefco, Savannah Beef, all these other places, you will start seeing the difference on the scales. You see the difference on the scale. This is why I started becoming a firm believer in quality. I rather first work on quality than focus on building numbers. Because why? For me, I looked at two things. It doesn't matter if I have over 500 cows, which are bad quality, which are not good quality. I can have over 500 animals and I take to Meatco. Yes, I'll get a bigger paycheck. But when it comes to the nitty-gritty stuff of slaughtering the animal and weighing the carcass weight, the person who probably took time to invest in the quality of his animals, to improve their quality and improve their genetics, will probably make more money than me when it comes to the weight. But I'll beat him out on numbers because I can put out 200 winners in one go. I can put out 200 slaughter ox in one go. He can probably put out maybe 100 or 80. But when they put on the scale and they do the weight, they do the weighing and they do the differentials, he'll beat me up because his animals are heavier than mine. Heavier, better meat, better muscling, getting the butcher and the abattoir guys can get more cuts off it, can get more prime cuts off it. While of mine, they get cuts, but they don't really get those prime cuts. They want the briskets, the shallow steaks, the rump steaks, all this thing. They can't get it off my animals, but I have more numbers. So I always used to say that if I also look at it from an economical point of view, livestock medication is expensive. Livestock feeds are also expensive. I can't have 500 herds of cattle, and 500 herds of cattle cannot be managed and maintained by 1 or 2 people. I probably need at least 5 or 10 people to manage and maintain this livestock of mine on my farm. So meaning I have to hire more workers, I have to pay more workers, I have to buy more medication, I have to buy more feeds. If I probably just buy medication for 50, 60 animals, which is a bit expensive but not that expensive, compare that to buying medication for 100 or 200 animals. Which one's more expensive? The guy with the more numbers. He spends more. Chances are he might make more than me when it goes to selling, because he can afford to sell 5 lots. I can probably afford to sell 2 lots. But when it goes to the nitty-gritty, putting those animals on the scale and they stand on that scale, a packet of 10 stand on that scale, mine will always be heavier than his because I focused on my quality. So what do I believe in as a livestock farmer, as a former livestock farmer? As someone said, a retiree. One person said, a person who resigned from farming. What do I believe? What was my farming philosophy? We all have different farming philosophies. We all know what we're doing it for. Some people want to chase numbers. It's their own thing. Let them do that. If you can afford to buy lots of medication, lots of feed, and hire a team of livestock managers, go ahead, go for it. And you have the land and you have resources available, go for it. But for me, I would rather start off small with quality animals and build it with time. Meaning even if I have my 80 quality animals and the place that I'm renting can take 100 animals, I'm not saying I'm going to stay just with my 80 animals. I'm going to keep on buying. But what I'm buying in is not, if not your best, I'm buying good animals in. Because there's something that I'm chasing. I rather focus on my quality. I once even said that I went to an auction once. I had 60,000 in my pocket to go to an auction to go buy some females, some heifers. I went there, I arrived early, I scouted the area, I looked at what was available, then nothing impressed me. With 60,000 in my bank, ready to sell, ready to buy animals. My father had given me 60, said go buy animals, go buy some heifers. When I arrived at that farm, the animals were not of good quality. I didn't buy. I also once did that where I trusted a breeder, a Brahman breeder, I trusted him to sell me some good quality animals. That gentleman sold me not good, but he sold me okay animals. And those okay animals, when they started giving birth, one would improve a bit. The other one, terrible. I slaughtered it after a while. Yeah, I ended up slaughtering it. It had a very beautiful pattern, fur pattern. But I slaughtered it and got rid of it. Because I can't deal with, because with me, my rule was, my cows must be able to give birth every year. My cows must be able to raise their own calves. My cows must be able, should show the ability to not lose too much weight and suffer too much. Those are the things that I needed for my cows. So if they cannot meet these criteria, I'm making you braai meat, you're going to the pot, or I'm slaughtering and I'm selling your meat to people. That was my philosophy on farming. Doesn't matter, because also this thing, I said it yesterday when I was talking to some other farmers there, doesn't necessarily mean because you're a stud breeder you have the best animals around. Sometimes some of your stud breeders have terrible looking animals, and this is why some of the animals are thrown out at selection. My philosophy as a livestock farmer, we all have different, former livestock farmer, we all have different farming philosophies. Some people want numbers because they probably want to supply meat co or always take to an auction and take over 100 animals to an auction. I would also want to do that, but I rather sacrifice that to focus on the quality of my product. If I'm going to produce a bull, I rather first heavily focus on its quality than rather saying that I want to produce over 10 bulls in a year of not good quality, because it doesn't reflect well onto me as the business person, as the producer, as the entrepreneur. So those are my 2 cents on a serious note. Thank you very much for joining me. Read the article on Mr. Charlie, man. It was a good article. Make your decision what it is you want to do. Like I said, we all farm for different reasons. We all have different farming philosophies. It is what it is. With that said, bye for now.